Hey guys, Carmine here. Before we start the video, I do want to give you all a heads up that in the coming days, I will be uploading three Patreon and YouTube membership exclusive podcasts. The first being a Q&A we recorded a while back, followed by an episode we did discussing all our shows that we enjoyed and covered in 2020, and our second collaboration ever with another YouTuber. I won't say who this YouTuber is, but they wanted to discuss with us our favorite episodes of Game of Thrones ever in time for the 10th anniversary of the series. So I thought we could make a nice little discussion of it. If you guys are interested in any of these, then consider supporting us on Patreon and or YouTube memberships. Both is not required. And yes, of course, I will make sure Preston gets these as well. So if you're already supporting him on there, then be on the lookout for that. I'll leave more info in the description below if you're interested. Thank you. So apparently, it came out a while ago. I'm sure you saw the news. HBO, they're continuing to kind of plot out the future of the Game of Thrones cinematic universe, as it might as well be,
Yeah.
on what's to come in the future. And they're looking at some things, and three possible other spin-offs are already coming out.
So what's funny is had you come to me with this story like a year ago, I wouldn't have really believed it. I'd be like, how many spin-offs can one asshole streaming service like put forward? Come on.
Six.
But that's the thing is like now that's the new thing. Like Disney Plus is like, you like Star Wars? We're going to fucking cram so many goddamn Star Wars series into your mouth until you're sick of Star Wars. Like Marvel, we're going to cram as many goddamn Marvel series down your gullet until you vomit them up. Like that's what both of them are. That's what they're doing over at Disney, right?
Well,
like,
in Disney's defense, some of the stuff we've seen from Star Wars and Marvel have been good.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
We have 6 or 7, I think 6, spin-offs either in the works or, floated around. Obviously, House of Dragons begins filming in April, and it's going to be released next year, right? Dunkin' Egg was floated around. So was an animated Game of Thrones series. That was floated around as well. And now we have 3 brand new ideas that are coming from HBO that they might be interested in. One of them has writers already attached. The first, that one being the 9 Voyages of the Sea Snake, Caleres Valerion, which is so dumb and...
I mean, I would love to have a Sea Snake series, but no one else does. This would be in the Game of Thrones universe, but so unrelated that no one could possibly care.
Before anybody pauses the video to say, "Me too, Preston." Yes, the thousands of people who watch our videos, yes, you guys would be interested as well. Most of you know who Caleres Valerion is. For those of you who don't, I'm sure you're probably going to Google it up or, watch one of our videos where we explain it. Cool. But you guys are only thousands of people. The millions of HBO viewers who are Game of Thrones fans tune into anything Game of Thrones related to see Starks, Lannisters, dragons, maybe White Walkers, occasionally a prostitute getting destroyed, maybe, stuff like that. But you don't come in to watch random dudes sail from random locations in Game of Thrones that have nothing to do with Starks, wolves, dragons, and blonde-haired people fucking each other. That's what you tune in for, and you're not going to get that. So, the 9 Voyages of Caleres Valerion, that's one of the spin-offs. The other one is a series about Flea Bottom. For those of you who don't remember, Flea Bottom is just the poorest section of King's Landing. And I don't know... This one has interesting potential because it could be stories from Flea Bottom, like an anthology series, which I'm sure everybody else can hear me jerking off to that because I love anthology stuff. But
but it could maybe explain why, how it must be Flea Bottom must be a very rich culture if it produces people with the accent of Davos and people with the accent of Gendry, because they're both from Flea Bottom, but they have completely different accents. So it just must be a very, very rich culture. So I am looking forward to a Flea Bottom series exploring the rich aspects of it.
So, okay, Flea Bottom, that's the second one that they're floating the idea around. We also have the 10,000 Ships of Nymeria, which sounds like it'll be a Dornish storyline, considering that Nymeria takes 10,000 ships from Essos across the sea and eventually ends up in Dorne. I see that I'm assuming here, because I don't know if it'll cover the entire trip or just her unifying the Dornish peninsula under House Martell. But even then, why would the casual fans care about Dorne after the awful stuff we got from it, or even the random locations she goes on, or even the war with the Valyrians? Once again, casuals care about the Starks, Lannisters, dragons, and, the greatest character of all time, Littlefinger, but will they care about the Rhoynish, which almost never got mentioned in the show? I don't know.
It's also odd so the odd thing about Nymeria and the 10,000 ships is that's the end of the story, really. Like the exciting stuff actually happens before that, when they're fighting the Valyrians, and then when they're so I don't know, the 10,000. I mean, I guess they do some sailing before they get to Dorne. I think they stop in Nath for a while and then get sick and they have to leave again. But I mean, I suppose like it'd be interesting to see how the Rhoynar like integrate with the Dornish and how that all happens. But the exciting stuff is all with the battles between the Rhoynar and the Valyrians. But that's before Nymeria even like comes into things, but we'll see. Well, we probably won't see. It probably won't get picked up.
I mean, once again, if this isn't like an anthology thing where it's like 4 episodes or 5 episodes, then okay, fine, but it doesn't seem like it's an anthology thing. If it's a limited series, I'd be okay with that as well, but the problem with it being a limited series is that you're wasting money on stories that not a lot of people are that interested in, and you're banking a lot on the Game of Thrones name. We've said this before, and I've said it again. I'm worried about HBO using Game of Thrones like AMC uses The Walking Dead, because there's several Walking Dead like spin-offs in production now, and I'm sure The Walking Dead still has their hardcore fan base, but I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I used to like The Walking Dead, and now I'm just kind of, it's whatever. I don't care.
The thing is, when you have a spin-off series, like it has to have a lot of the elements that people really wanted from the original. So like when you do something like The Mandalorian, you say, okay, well, what do people like about Star Wars? Well, people like bounty hunters and people like Jedi. And so we're going to do a series about a bounty hunter taking around a Jedi. It's got these familiar elements, like it starts out as like this guy is pretty much Boba Fett, and this kid is pretty much Yoda. So, you get that little connection. But yeah, if you go too far, like Corlys Velaryon and his travels, like how is this connecting to what we kind of want, which is either like the Stark family, the Lannister family, the Targaryen family, dragons, White Walkers, right? Like you expect at least one of those elements to be there to connect people, but instead it's some guy from a different family, like, sailing around the world. I mean, maybe he's going to run into monsters and stuff. I don't know, but
yeah, that is, and in order to bring the world of Game of Thrones to life, the world of Ice and Fire to life, you got to put a good budget behind that. And unless they do an animated series with like some top-notch animation, like we saw with Castlevania or some of the anime that comes out of Japan, I don't know, man. Like, it seems like a random risk. I still think one of the reasons why they scrapped the White Walker prequel is because the White Walkers were a huge letdown in the final season. They just were not as, like, it was a big lead up to nothing. We've gone over 1,000 times. And something HBO saw in the prequel, they did not like. So, yeah, there's something happening with the 9 Voyages of the Sea Snake that's making them want to pick it up. I don't know what that is. I think all 3 of those ideas are kind of lame. Dunk and Egg is a great idea. It's far away. House of the Dragons, great idea. Far away enough from the main series, but still interesting enough.
Mm.
It's just, who cares about any of this other stuff?
I mean, I think Dunk and Egg is the best idea to have. Just because you have source material, you have some likable characters, already. And just, the wandering around having adventures is, a fun kind of thing. The thing with House of the Dragon that I'm worried about is how they're going to do the time lapse, like the Dance of the Dragons happens in a fairly quick amount of time, fairly small amount of time. So how are they really going to, push this out over a certain number of seasons? That's what I worry about with that.
Well, House of the Dragon is also going to have the same problem that Game of Thrones had. Like, we don't know how many years or months or weeks it's been. We kind of have to, like, use certain things to figure that out. Like, in season 1, it was very easy, like
Gilly's child. Like, yeah.
I was going to say in season 1 with Daenerys being pregnant and, like, how that evolves over time. When we were reading Fire and Blood recently, the last 2 chapters take place over the course of years. Rhaenyra has a child, and then some pages later, that child is like 5 years old. And then some pages later, that child is 9 years old. And it's like, oh, wow, that escalated rather quickly. There are, like, gaps among that. Okay, cool. It's going to be messy, but we'll see how they tackle it. But, yeah, so 3 more spin-offs. HBO is taking no chances. They want to make sure they can keep profiting off Game of Thrones, which is good for us. We have more stuff to talk about in regards to Thrones, but also kind of bad for us because we don't want it smeared and, yeah. We don't want it to be, given the Disney sequel trilogy treatment.
Yeah. No, it'll be certainly fun. It'll be fun to get back into it when a new show comes around. But you don't think these are going to be out until 2022?
House of the Dragon should be coming out next year. These, I don't know. HBO is doing this really interesting thing, which is going to segue into our next topic. I love it. They are putting out, like, films that should be coming out in theaters on the same day on their streaming services. And they're spacing them out until where it's probably just better if you keep the subscription, because now we have Snyder Cut. Then next month, I'm waiting for it, Mortal Kombat. Then after that, it's King Kong vs. Godzilla, which I want to watch. So I might as well just keep the fucking subscription. Disney Plus is doing the same thing. We had WandaVision for a couple weeks. We had Mandalorian, and then WandaVision, and now Falcon and Soldier.
Yeah, and they usually do it so that, like, if say you had if it's like Falcon and the Winter Soldier is 6 weeks, right? So it's like you have to get like 3 months in, right? I'm trying to think if the finale of Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to fall into May. Like, do you have to get 3 months of subscription? Like, do they plan these kind of things, to make sure that everybody's still subscribed?
It doesn't matter, because I'm going to keep it anyway so I can watch new episodes of Clone Wars, because Star Wars is coming back on May 4th with more Clone Wars stuff. So that intrigues me. So they're keeping my subscription, of course. So they got that. And then after Clone Wars is done, I think Loki's coming up afterwards. So they got me there. So if HBO wants to keep doing this, let's go. Give us more Thrones and maybe give me and Preston a sneak peek, whatever.
Yeah, they have to keep to keep it going until House of the Dragon is out, because I mean, everything's about growth, right? So it's not, I'm not saying that HBO is doing poorly, but in order to please shareholders and everything, there has to be growth constantly, which is this rough thing, right? It's funny. A buddy of mine started a company that ended up being pretty successful, but he starts talking about, like, when he should have sold it versus when he did sell it, and he's like, when it's at peak growth is when you have peak interest, and you're like, oh, this is so much fun, but that's when they come with the best offer. But then when you're, like, when it's established and you're ready to sell because you've built something, the growth is no longer there. It's stable, and you're not going to get the money. So it's this odd thing. Like, you have to decide, like, do you want to get rid of your baby, like, before it's even developed, in order to get the most money. But anyway, growth. It's all about growth. So HBO has to get more and more subscribers, and the problem is they peaked with this Game of Thrones, and they don't have anything that's as big to keep it going or grow the channel.
Doing the whole Snyder cut, great move. Putting out Dune, Godzilla, Mortal Kombat the same day it comes out in theaters, great move. Fantastic move. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's talking about the Snyder cut, and it's been a while since everybody's been talking about something on HBO, you know? So, I mean, not since Watchmen really has like, there been a buzz, right, about HBO?
I would say so. Yeah, I would kind of... No. What about Lovecraft Country, which you and I weren't huge fans of, but...
I wouldn't say there was that much of a buzz. I don't think it was that. I mean, I think the first week it came out, people were like, oh, this looks interesting. And then I think it got lukewarm reception, you know, unlike Watchmen, which I think everybody kind of was head over heels for, especially critics, you know.